Hello, my name is Steve Jones, and I am running for the Kentucky House of Representatives for District 23. That includes all of Barron County and a small slice of Warren County as you would head out towards Smiths Grove. I'm making a series of videos that I'm going to post online to tell you a little bit about myself, to share with you my stance on specific views, and just to give you information about who I am and what my plans are. This first video is mainly for information purposes. I understand that a lot of you may have no idea who I am. I'm sure some of my good friends here in Barron County may know things about me, but not everything about me. So I thought about what I should do first, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and give a little bit of background of where I'm from, who I am, and just get a sense so you get a chance to know me a little bit better. I was born in Des Moines, Iowa. Lived in a small town. At the time, it was a small town. Now it's a very large town called Ankeny, just outside of Des Moines. Grew up there. Was the son of a registered nurse. My mom was a registered nurse till she retired. And my dad was a member of the local union and worked for the local utility company. He was a service technician. He repaired gas meters. Growing up in a union household was my first experience and exposure to a union, and I think it's one of the reasons today I am so pro-union, because I saw the benefits that it brought our family and my father. Growing up, I was a product of public education, elementary school, the time called junior high. We didn't call it middle school back then, it was called junior high, and then finally high school, all in Ankeny. After that, I went off to college at a public university, Iowa State University. That's located in Ames, Iowa. That was about a 30-minute drive from my home, so that was nice. Spent 4.5 years there and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Communication, and then decided I wanted more education and wanted to attend graduate school. I applied to and was accepted with a full scholarship to the University of Memphis in Memphis, Tennessee, where I pursued a Master of Fine Arts in Theatrical Design and Technology. So I'm training-wise, from long ago, was a theatrical scenic designer. After I graduated with my Master's of Fine Arts, I worked freelance in Memphis for a while. I worked for the Memphis Opera Company, both their main stage productions and their children's opera company. I did several shows for local professional theaters, and then the opportunity came up for me to join the faculty at Rhodes College in Memphis. And so I jumped at that chance because there was more security there, and I could still do my freelance work on the side to continue to grow as an artist. I taught there for about 2 years, and also during that time, I became involved with the Tennessee Governor School for the Arts, which is very similar to the Governor School's programs here in Kentucky. That was hosted at Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I did that for a couple of summers as their scenic designer and technical director, and I got along with them so well, and they enjoyed my work, and it was just a good meshing between their faculty and me, that when their current scenic designer retired, at the end of those 2 years, those 2 summers I worked there, they asked me to apply for the position, and I got it, and I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where I lived for 12 years and taught at the University, not the University of Memphis, that's graduate school, where I taught at Middle Tennessee State University. I became tenured and promoted from assistant to associate professor. I loved teaching. I thought, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. There's nothing that can make me change my mind. I was happy at Middle Tennessee State University, but I was single. And then I met an incredible woman from Glasgow, Kentucky, Sherry Jones. Well, it wasn't Jones at the time, of course, so you know how that story ends. Fell in love with her, and still madly in love with her, and met her while she was just coming back from North Carolina, from having finished up medical school at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and she was entering the family practice residency program at T.J. Sampson Community Hospital. And we dated and got along, and as I say, eventually ended up getting married. We decided that we would try it first for me to continue teaching at Middle Tennessee State University while she was going through the residency program. That didn't work out real well because I had moved to Glasgow, and it was a 2 hour commute one way every day from Glasgow down 31 to Murfreesboro. That got real old real quick. Did it for a year though, and then we talked and decided it was time for me to relocate to Glasgow so we could have our family here. So I started looking for jobs, and I found a position with the Capital Arts Alliance in Bowling Green. Most people know it as the Capitol Theater, but the organization was actually at the time the Capital Arts Alliance. And so I was hired as the president and CEO of the Capital Arts Alliance in Bowling Green, in charge of running the Capitol Theater. And so, lock, stock, and barrel, packed everything up and completely relocated here to Glasgow. While I was there, I already had 2 children. Sherry had 2 children from a previous marriage, and we had our third child while I was there. And I worked at the Capital Arts Center for about 16 months. And at the time, the city of Glasgow had purchased the Plaza Theater, and they were in the process of renovating it. And I saw that they were probably going to be looking for someone to manage it for them. And so I reached out to them to say, hey, look, I live in Glasgow. I've got a degree in theater. I've taught arts management to students at college. I'm managing a theater right now in Bowling Green. I'm very interested in this position when it's advertised, and so forth. Things came, things passed, and long story short, I was hired as the executive director of the Plaza Theater when it first opened. I did that for 6 years. I think it was about 6 years, and enjoyed it very much. It was a wonderful challenge. It's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. The opportunity to take a theater from nothing. I mean, it's a great theater, but had never been opened before since it's been renovated. Got a chance to do everything from final coordination with the architects to setting up credit card and merchant accounts, deciding what software we would use to sell tickets, booking acts. It was just a wonderful all-around experience, and I enjoyed it very much. But after about 6 years, I felt I'd kind of accomplished all I could there, and the theater was in good operating and conditions, was meeting all the projected budgets it was supposed to be meeting. And they were building SkyPack in Bowling Green, and I thought, well, let me try that. I want to see if I can become involved in that when they were talking about needing to hire a ticket office manager. I loved the Plaza, but it's a lot of work. And at the time, there were 2 of us there. We'd hired a second person, Anthony Kenny, who many of you know from the Kentucky Headhunters, was the technical director, and a great guy to work with. That's probably the thing I miss the most about the Plaza is working with Anthony. But even for 2 people, that's a ton of work doing all that stuff. I mean, even though you bring in volunteers and you can hire some overstaffed crew for events, it's a lot of work to manage a theater like that. And I was ready to say, okay, I'm ready to ease off a little bit of the time commitment. I want to spend more time with my family. I don't want to be spending, every Friday and Saturday night at the theater. And I thought, well, the ticket office is SkyPack would do that. So I applied for that, and they were very excited with my resume, my background, and I was hired to do that. And I did that for a couple of years and decided that wasn't really for me. It wasn't what I thought it'd be. It wasn't what I expected it to be. And so I left there and went to work for a company in Columbia that does custom, large-scale furniture work. Because I was using my design skills for them as a computer draftsman. I also designed their web pages, their graphics, their company logo, all that kind of stuff, because my theater training was a lot of arts training as well. And so I have a lot of graphic design skills and things like that. And I worked for them. During that time, I decided, I'd done various volunteer opportunities and things like that. And I decided it was time to do something more to give back to the community. So I'd heard about CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocates. And my wife had been one when she was in North Carolina. But of course, in medical school, when she went into medical school, she gave that up because there just wasn't time to do that and become a medical student. And so I contacted them, and I went through their training program, and I became a court-appointed special advocate. And what that is, those are community volunteers who work with abused and neglected children who've been placed into the foster care system and the court system. You often read in the paper about a police report that a couple of parents were arrested. There were kids in the home. The kids were taken out of the home because the parents were doing drugs or all kinds of things, and they're placed into the foster care system. What a court-appointed special advocate does is we are assigned to a case, and we work with those children and serve as their constant presence throughout the entire process. Because social workers may change, therapists may change, lawyers may change, but we are the one constant through the whole process until the case reaches resolution. We visit the kids regularly. We talk to all the parties involved with them. And it's just a really incredibly rewarding experience. And I still have my current case. But I say all that to say that while I was being an advocate, volunteer advocate, and working at the company in Columbia, they had a position open up, a full-time position open up with the court-appointed special advocates, the CASA of South Central Kentucky in Bowling Green. And I enjoyed what I did with them on a volunteer basis so much, I applied for that position and got that position. And so that's where I am now. I work for CASA of South Central Kentucky. I'm an advocate development specialist, and my job is to reach out to our community and try to recruit and help train new volunteers. And I love it. It's a great job. It's probably the most rewarding job I've ever had. I mean, I've loved all my jobs I've had. They've all been rewarding on some levels, but serving the abused and neglected children in our community, knowing that I'm helping them have a better life, is just an incredible experience. And I'll throw in an advertisement here. If you ever want to become involved and become an advocate and a volunteer, contact me. So I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Aside from all this political stuff, if you're interested in helping those children, please give me a shout. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. That's kind of my history in a nutshell. If you have any questions, feel free to give a shout. I can tell. I can tell you a little bit about my family. I've got 3 children. My oldest, Erica, she lives in Franklin, Tennessee. She's married to Ryan, my son-in-law, who's a wonderful guy. And she works for Ingram. And what she does, I'm not sure the exact title. It's kind of like barge logistics. She guides barges up and down the Mississippi and around the Gulf of Mexico coast. It's kind of like a traffic director, I think, for barges for that company, and deals with all the problems they have, like when there was flooding and locks on the river would no longer work. She'd work about how do we redirect the cargo to get it there in a timely manner and all that. It's an incredibly complex job. I don't think I could do it, but she loves it. My son-in-law works for UPS. And then my middle child, Ethan, he went to EKU, and actually all 3 of my kids are products of the Barron County school system. They all went to Barron County High School and then went on to colleges here in Kentucky. My middle child, Ethan, went to EKU, and he went through the aviation program and is now a pilot. It's amazing because ever since he could walk and talk, he said he wanted to be a pilot. When he saw his first plane, he wanted to be a pilot. And now he is. I mean, that's pretty unusual for someone, everyone, all the little boys, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a pilot, I want to be this. And very seldom does that happen, but he did. He became a pilot, and I'm very proud of him, as I am of all my children. And then my final child, Natalie, is at Barron County Middle School right now. And of course, like anyone her age, she's still trying to determine what it is she wants to do. And that's fine. That's what high school's for. And the other person I guess I want to make sure to mention in my life is my wife, Dr. Sherry Jones. She is now with a practice in Columbia and has been there for over 10 years, I think. A lot of you watching this video may know her, may even be her patient. I know she is beloved by the people that she serves. And I can tell you, during this time with the coronavirus and all the stuff that's going on, it's taking a toll on the medical workers. I see that when she comes home. We had, if you've watched the governor's daily briefings, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, he announced we had the first death of a medical worker, and that was at the nursing home in Adair County. And my wife knew that person very well, and that was very hard. She has watched patients she has had for over a decade pass away from the virus, and it's incredibly difficult. I don't know how she does it. She's a much stronger person than me, and the admiration I have for her is just incredible. And how she can do all that just amazes me. But anyway, love her very much. Love my kids very much. Very excited at the opportunity of representing District 23 in Frankfort. How did I get here? Gosh, I wasn't ever really active in politics. I don't see myself as a politician. I like that it's called the Kentucky House of Representatives because I see myself as a representative. I don't see myself as a politician. I became active in politics about 4 years ago when Donald Trump was elected president. I won't get too political here other than to say that I don't care for him very much. I don't think he's been a very good president. And I've seen a lot of stuff happen that has made me say to myself, I got to do something. And so I became active in local politics. I became active with the Barron County Democratic Party. I've done a lot of events with them. I serve on the executive committee. I'm their current secretary. I was their treasurer until I ran for this position, this office. And in checking with everyone to make sure it was okay with everything I was doing, one of the steps is I had to talk to the Legislative Ethics Committee. And they said while it was not a deal breaker, they would highly recommend that I step down as treasurer of the Barron County Democratic Party because I was the treasurer as well. And that made sense because as a candidate, I'm dealing with my finances and I shouldn't also be dealing with the party finances as well. So we have a new treasurer now, so that was not a problem. But as I said, I saw a lot of things going in directions I don't think they should have. I saw our previous governor, to be blunt, being a little tyrant, locking people out of the State House. I saw things happening that just simply disgusted me. Cramming legislation to take away pensions in a sewage bill, Democrats being locked out of discussions. It was just, it's not the way government's supposed to happen. And so I decided, well, how can I fix that? I can protest, and I've done that. Some of you may know me from, it was back when Trump got nominated, I think. For several weeks, I would stand on the corner of the bypass and Main Street by Edmonton State Bank after I got off work with a large sign protesting against Trump. And that was the first time, I'll be honest, that's the first time someone ever yelled out a car window or yelled at me and called me a baby killer. That's another reason I want to get into politics, but that's a whole other topic. But I just saw our state going in a direction that was not serving the middle class, not serving the underserved, and that's a problem nationwide as well. I saw too much partisanship, and I saw too many things being done without consulting both sides of the aisle, and I just wasn't happy with it. So I decided, well, like I said, I can protest, I can write letters, I can get mad, or I can get off my butt and do something. And that's what I decided to do. And that's why I'm running for the House of Representatives. I want to bring back Kentucky to a better place. I want to serve everyone in the state and especially my district. I want to bring back, just common sense and fairness and kindness and compassion. The things that I see that have been missing for these past several years since the Republicans took over both the House and the Senate and the governor's office. Luckily, we have a Democratic governor now who's doing a wonderful job. I don't think anyone can speak too negatively of what he's doing dealing with this virus issue, though I know there are those that protest, and there's always going to be someone that's not happy with anything. So, you just have to deal with those people, let them be who they're going to be and say what they're going to say and say, okay, that's fine. I've heard you. Thanks. Anyway, I can't think of anything else to tell you. I've been talking quite a while. I'm staring at the camera, so I don't see the timer, so I don't know how long I've been talking. So hopefully this hasn't been too long. Uh, but feel free to reach out to me at any time. Best way is you can send me an email at Steve, Steve, at stevejones4ky.com. You can visit my website, www.stevejones4ky.com. I've got a Facebook page. You're welcome to visit there. I've got the YouTube channel where this is posted on and will be shared to all those things. I've got a Twitter account, all the social media accounts. You shouldn't have trouble finding me. But send me that email if you need to, and that email goes straight to me. I don't have a huge campaign staff or anything like that. So if you email me or call me or whatever, however you reach out to me, it's going to be me you're going to get, not an assistant somewhere, and I will respond as quickly as possible. Okay, I appreciate you listening. I hopefully can say I appreciate your support and your vote. And I think that's it. But feel free to reach out, and I appreciate your time. You all take care. Stay safe. Stay home unless you absolutely have to go out somewhere. I know that's hard. I've got a 16-year-old daughter, as I said, who's missing all of her friends, but she is smart enough and brave enough and strong enough to know this is what we got to do to get through this pandemic, and then we'll eventually get back to normal. It'll take a while, but we'll get there, and I want to be there to help you get back to that normal. Thank you very much. You have a great day.